Hello everybody and welcome back. Well, it's been an interesting couple weeks for me. It's been really busy, but now we're ready to start our next little project here. And this one's going to take several videos to do, and hopefully it'll be something that'll be a lot of fun for us to do together. A while back, clear back in the fall of last year, I purchased one of those kits, we'll call it. It was an amplifier kit that you get from China, and they're referred to as just a box of parts, or JABOP, J-A-B-O-P, because basically that's what you get. Now, I did one of these a couple years ago. It was a vacuum tube 6BQ5 push-pull amplifier, and it was a very popular video. I enjoyed building it. It turned out very well, but when you go to order these things, they often don't have instructions at all, and some of them don't even have a schematic. You basically get a cardboard box filled with parts, and then usually somewhere in the description on eBay or whatever, you can download a kind of a schematic, if you want to call it that. And some of these companies will actually even email you some rudimentary instructions for assembly. We're not going to worry about that though, because we're going to turn this into a learning project. I'm going to call this series Electronics 101 and a half. Why a half, you say? Well, you know, Electronics 101, that's kind of kind of a catchphrase that people use for, basic electronics, or, simple electronics, beginner. But I'm going to call it 101 and a half because we are going to get into a few things that are maybe a little bit more intermediate during this series. Now, what we're going to do is we're not going to worry about how to assemble this amplifier kit and how to go on eBay and purchase one yourself. These come in different versions and various different configurations, and you can find them all over the place online at all kinds of different prices and so forth, and I don't really want to get into that. This is not about, I'm going to show you how to order this specific one and build it. No, the main reason that we're going to do this project is to be able to learn some of the fundamentals of electronics. I did a back to basics maintenance video on on doing a receiver, cleaning the potentiometers and testing and things like that, and it was very popular, and I got a lot of requests to do more things like this. So that's the reason that I'm going to do this series. Now, when I say basic, we are going to start at the power cord, at the mains cord, and we're going to talk about DC versus AC electricity. We're going to talk about the transformer, the power transformer. We're going to talk about a rectifier, what it is, how it works, what it resists, some things about resistors, some things about capacitors. And then we're going to get a little more intermediate into the different stages of an amplifier. Now, this is, full disclosure, a vacuum tube amplifier. And again, I chose to use vacuum tubes because they're more simple. They're big, so it's easier to see the individual components. A vacuum tube amplifier is a capacitor coupled design, meaning that each stage kind of works independently of the other. So we can build these stages one at a time and really closely look at what's going on and how it works. And a lot of the fundamentals that we'll use with vacuum tube theory can also transfer over to modern solid state theory as well. Because really, we want to learn the fundamentals, what a lot of the passive components are all about, like what is it, a resistor, capacitor, and a transistor, an inductor, different things like that. So we're going to try to keep these videos shorter than my normal ones. Now, when I say short, this is X-Ray Tony B, right? Tony videos are typically longer than some videos, but these ones, rather than an hour or 50 minutes or something like that, I'm going to try to keep each and every one of them under a half an hour each, okay? So that's still long for some channels and for some viewers, but enough that you could watch it in one sitting, and that I'm not going to cover more than one or two subjects or concepts in any one video. So if that sounds interesting to you, that's what we're going to do. Now this is the first part of that series, and we're not going to get into any of the components yet, but what we'll do is I'll show you the box before I open it, and then I'll open the box and kind of show you how the stuff looks inside of there. I'm not going to do an unpackaging video because those are boring and they take too long, but I'll show you what it looks like, how you get these things. We'll learn together if there's any instructions or schematics at all, and if not, well, we may just have to figure this out on our own, and that's all the better, huh? And then I'll take all the components out and we'll kind of look at them. That'll be the end of this part. And then in part 2, as I said, we're going to start at the mains, and we're going to just talk about basic electricity, DC versus AC, and what some of this stuff means, how to look at it on an oscilloscope and on our voltmeter, and what it means when we're looking at it, what we're actually seeing when we look at these things. And then that'll be part 1, and we'll go so forth beyond that. So if that sounds interesting, stay tuned for the next several videos in this series, and hopefully we'll all be able to have some fun along the way. All right, I'll show you what's going on, and then we'll get this posted. Well, as I said, this is it. This is how it shows up. You just basically get a box covered with packing tape, and when I ordered it, it probably took about a week or 2 to come in. It's supposed to be, again, a push-pull amplifier, and it's going to use a EL84/6BQ5, 6P14, whatever type output tube. Push-pull design, as I said. And let's open it up and kind of see how they shipped it to us, and even if it showed up intact. Okay, opening this up. This has been sitting in my basement for literally months, and it must have been like close to 4 months now. And it smells, when I open this up, it smells exactly like wet spray paint. It really does. Very strong paint smell. So obviously something in here has been painted, and then before it totally dried or cured, they boxed it up. So heaven only knows what it's going to be like. But they did double box it, and that looks pretty good. So let me get it out. Okay, cutting the inner box open it up, a couple of pieces of foam, and there's all your parts, and that's how they look in there. And this is how you will receive these types of kits. So let me get it all out in the open, and we can look at them. Okay, after everything's removed from the box, this is essentially what we're left with. Bag full of parts, and it does look like there's at least a schematic. You see this little piece of paper in here. We'll look at that real quick. A circuit board. So this one is PC board based. Some of them are point-to-point wired. This one, obviously, they're using a circuit board. And I didn't even know that when I got this kit. I wasn't sure what kind of topology they were going to use here, or what kind of method. The smell, I believe, is from these 2 output transformers. And they're pretty good size, because I think this is rated at like anywhere from around 12 watts per channel. So pretty good sized output transformers, nice and heavy, pretty thick core on them. There you go. Nice power supply. Remember, this is driving 2 12-watt amps, so for a total of 24 watts. So there you go. And I was surprised to find out that this is galvanized metal. This is steel. This is not aluminum. This is the bottom of the case. And here's the actual chassis itself. And again, it's not aluminum, it's steel. It's a steel chassis. So some people don't like steel chassis because of you could get magnetic bleed through on the transformers. I have never seen a problem from that, so I'm not worried about it. Other people like the steel chassis, like I do, because they're so much stronger. They don't bend or break as easily as the aluminum. So there it is. And then you get these little blocks of wood which I think are just, you just attach them, those become your sides. And you can see it's just and it's real wood. It doesn't look to be artificial. They're actual finished and varnished wooden sides, and those will attach to the side here to be your side. So it should be a nice looking little project when it's done. There's all your capacitors and resistors and all the parts. And they actually look, this says Nippon Chemicon. Now, are they real name brand capacitors? Maybe. Maybe not. We don't know, but we don't care. I don't care. If they work, we're going to use them, and if they don't work, we'll replace them with ones that do work. Nice little film capacitors and things, so it should be good. And let's check out the schematic real quick. This is what it's going to be all about, huh? If that's what this is. And just like I thought, this is all you get. So here's your schematic, and we'll look at this in more detail throughout the series. But very simple. You have this, you have just a simple voltage amplification stage here. You have the phase splitter, and then, you know, which is going to be a cathodiene, and your push-pull output. We'll talk about more of this stuff later as we get through the video. It uses solid-state diodes for the rectifier instead of a vacuum tube rectifier, which is fine. And as you can see, it's very simple, and there's not a lot of components. So this should be very, very good to use as kind of an educational tool. So this will be fun. So that's it. This is what we're going to be doing. And I noticed I don't see a power cord for this. Maybe we have to provide our own. There's the connector to plug the power cord into, but I guess we have to provide our own power cord. And last but not least, this little cardboard tube. Inside of it is all of the vacuum tubes, and I won't open those up right now, but they're inside there. So that's it. All right, so very exciting. We're going to get started on this project, and in the next part 2, like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the very beginning. We're going to talk about voltage, DC versus AC, and how it works. And then the video after that, we'll learn about the power transformer. And then the part after that, we'll talk about rectification. And then we'll talk about filtration with, we'll start introducing the capacitor and some things like that. And we'll move on and on from there. Anyway, that's what we're doing. And that's all we're going to do for this video. And I wish you all peace, joy, happiness, and good health in your lives. And look forward to sharing some of what I know and what I don't know. I'm sure some of you know so much more than me about this, so I always learn something from these videos as much as all of you do, because so many of you smart people are so kind to share your thoughts and knowledge with me and with the rest of us as well, and I appreciate that. Anyway, we'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.